In this episode, we discuss the paralyzing fear of failure that many entrepreneurs face. Fear of failure can hold back business owners from taking risks, pursuing new opportunities, and reaching their full potential. We'll discuss the psychological roots of this fear and how it impacts decision making. And most importantly, how to reframe failure as a learning opportunity. We'll also share statistics, real-life examples, and actionable tips for listeners to overcome their fear of failure.
Lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Boltz. I'm an attorney and founder of Boltz Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Boltz, owner of Boltz Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the Miss in biz.
Let's get biz done.
I think most of us have heard the term fear of failure. However, it wasn't until I started working with Fernando from Unblinded that I realized that fear of failure and fear of rejection are the two biggest fears that any human can ever have. And it is so common that most of the time we don't realize that our anxiety, our dis-ease is a result of one of those two fears.
Yeah, Fernando and Sean with Unblinded take it to the extent that they say any and everything that you want to do, but you're finding yourself not doing is because of fear of failure or fear of rejection. And at first I thought, that can't be true. But if you sit and you think about it and think, for example, why am I not going to the gym? There's some, and you keep digging deep into it, it usually comes back to some fear of failure or fear of rejection.
Absolutely. So fear of failure, it's a natural emotional response to the potential of not achieving a desired outcome. For entrepreneurs, it can manifest as hesitation to launch a new product, reluctance to expand a business, or avoidance of risks that could lead to growth. This fear often stems from the pressure of high expectations, a desire for perfection, or the dread of losing money or credibility. While fear is common, it can become crippling when it prevents entrepreneurs from making progress or taking necessary risks.
We all have fears. It's natural to the human existence, unfortunately. But we can't let it cripple us or keep us back from succeeding. And so we have to find ways to overcome that fear and do things anyways, despite the fear, in order to live to our maximum potential.
And here are some ways that you might be able to tell if you are encountering fear of failure in your life. So entrepreneurs, they may overanalyze decisions to the point of inaction, fearing that any misstep could lead to failure. So that is a big one. If you are like constantly obsessing over every single decision that you make, that might be a good indication that you are encountering fear of failure.
Yeah. And it's good to look past the analysis, because some people may just say, well, I need this to be done. I need this to be done. I need this to be corrected and all these things. But the reality behind it is you're afraid of failing. And so it's important to look at the root cause behind your inaction to be able to deal with that root cause and move past it.
And if you aren't dealing with the root cause, then you're going to encounter a lot of negative consequences, such as stifling innovation that can actually prevent business owners from experimenting with new ideas, leading to stagnation in growth and creativity, right? If you are constantly beating yourself up saying that's never going to work, it's because you have a fear of failure and you're not figuring out the way that you can make it work. Also, it can take a huge emotional toll on you as well. If you're feeling this constant pressure to avoid failure, it can lead to anxiety, stress, burnout, and impact you both personally in terms of your well-being, but also your business performance.
Yeah, cortisol levels are a real thing that hinder and affect your physical health, and cortisol levels are raised by stress. So stress caused by fears or stress caused by any other reason still has a harmful impact on your physical health.
You're also, if you don't deal with the fear of failure, you're going to have a lot of missed opportunities. So by avoiding risks, entrepreneurs, they miss out on growth opportunities that could potentially take their business to the next level. And if you talk to any successful entrepreneur, almost each and every time they say they had to take some major risk in order to get where they are today.
Do you have any fears of failure that you have either overcome or you still struggle with?
I think initially I had a fear of failure when it came to hiring people. So really, I just had to make sure that I had the right processes in place and that I really did my research to make sure that they were going to be a good fit. Because you get to the point where you don't have the time to do everything that needs to be done.
And how did you overcome that fear?
I just did it. I just did it, and then I would learn things from there. Anytime there would be like a hiccup, I would be like, okay, well, I know what not to do next time, or I would come up with those processes to help.
And that's the unfortunate reality sometimes is there's no way around the fear other than just through it. It's just do it anyways. And that's the hardest thing because we're like, okay, maybe if I do this, it'll help me feel better and I won't have such a fear. But oftentimes, no matter what you do, it doesn't take the fear away and you just have to face the fear head on. Something that comes to mind for me of a fear of failure, and this is also, I think, a fear of rejection, is years ago, I wrote songs and I recorded an album, and I have never publicly released those songs like on the internet or social media. I have CDs that nobody even has a CD player anymore, but I still have a box of CDs.
I have a CD player.
I don't even have a CD player. You are in the minority. So I have CDs and I gave them out to family and some like trusted friends. But outside of that, I really didn't put it out there much at all. And the reason was because those songs were written during emotional times in my life. And I didn't think I would be able to handle it if people said negative things about my songs. They were just too close to my heart to have some troll on the internet bashing. And like, for example, one of the songs I wrote when my daughter was born premature, she weighed 1 pound, and I wrote a song to her while she was still in the hospital. And that song is close to my heart. I wrote another song that was coming out of my depression from when I was divorced. Like, those songs came out of emotional times in my life, and just putting it out for the world to see and to trample on was not something that I was comfortable doing. And to this day, I still have never put those songs out there publicly. So this is a fear that I still deal with to this day. And when I think of how do I overcome that, it's really, I would just have to do it. I could sit in a time of prayer and reflection and think about, why does this matter so much to me, what other people think? Because the reality is, and I've learned this in other ways, that those songs may resonate with people going through similar experiences. And just like I talk about all the time, the negativity, it will probably be far surpassed by the positivity, but I still haven't got to that place where I'm ready to make myself vulnerable for all the world to see in that kind of way.
I'm going to make a Brooke Bolts fan page so that I can inspire you and I can keep the haters away when you do release it.
Well, that's sweet of you.
No pressure.
Do you love the Miss Biz podcast?
Because we love you.
Here's 3 things you can do to show your support.
1, write us a review. Apple or Spotify are the best platforms for reviews.
2, join us for our Friday Zoom calls at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To RSVP, go to MissBiz.com homepage, scroll down to Miss Biz Connects, and click the link.
3, follow us on social media. Our handle is at Miss Biz Podcast.
As always, thank you for your support.
Yeah.
That's sweet of you, but I share this just because I have fears too. We all do, and I don't struggle with the same fears in business. If you tell me go do something and I think it's gonna grow my business, I will do it. I just don't have as many fears in that realm. But when it comes to things that are close to the heart, like my music, that fear is really heavy.
Some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs faced significant failures before reaching their peak. So, did you know that Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination before creating one of the most beloved entertainment empires? So, that goes to show you that, and he's just one example. We could sit here and talk all day about other celebrities who failed. But the difference is after they failed, they keep trying.
Yes.
And honestly, like 90% of startups fail, but many entrepreneurs continue to push forward, learning from these experiences and achieving long-term success.
I remember in high school, my freshman year, I tried out for the cheerleading team. I had never cheered in my life. I made the team, but another girl did not, who was an experienced cheerleader, and no one really quite understood why she didn't make the team. But she worked so hard during that freshman year that when we came back the sophomore year, she was by far the best cheerleader of all of us. Like, by far. She became the captain, not just that sophomore year, but for the rest of our high school career. She was the lead cheerleader and the captain every year thereafter. And to see how she took that failure and used it as a motivation to improve and to work harder is something that even now, 20-something years later, I still remember and still has an impact on me because of how she didn't let that failure hold her back from her goal. She worked harder to just come back and do it better and do it more. And hearing these stories, I think, is necessary and helpful to overcoming your fear, because when you hear how other people have failed and then achieved, it can give you the confidence that if it worked for them, maybe it'll work for me. Let me try and see.
Yeah, in fact, Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, you know how all you ladies like to wear the Spanx, she credits her success for learning how to embrace failure early on. So, in fact, her father encouraged her to share her failures at the dinner table growing up, which helped her view them as opportunities for growth. So that's something that we can do even with our children to help them kind of combat this fear of failure.
And I think that having failure is gonna happen, right? It's an absolute that will happen for all of us, but being candid and open and honest with it, I think, makes you more likable to people. I think people like genuine and sincere people. So if you have that perspective that, okay, maybe I'll fail, but if I'm candid and open and honest about it, people like to root for the underdog. They like to support the person who's struggling and help people in need. And so it can actually help you through that process and help you to succeed because of the failure. I mean, think about it. Let's think about you're watching one of those television shows where you have to vote for the best something. And there's a really likable, sincere young teen who comes out and is so scared, and they just bomb and they just do a terrible job. And then you've got to vote. And you have this other person who they're up against who did a fantastic job. Bless you.
Thank you.
Who would you vote for?
I don't know. It depends. I'd probably vote for the underdog.
A lot of people would. Not everyone. Some people are going to vote for the person who did a fantastic job. But a lot of people their hearts are going to go out to that person who failed, and they're going to feel empathetic for that person. They're going to vote for the person even though they didn't do their best job. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm a little under the weather today.
So a lot of people are going to vote for the underdog just like you. People root for the underdog. So if you can just kind of change your perception of failure and know that failure doesn't necessarily mean you're done for and that people reject you, it's sometimes the opposite of that, then maybe that will help you to take action.
I used to tell myself anytime I would get in a situation where failure was a possibility, which is everyday life, really, if you look at it, but certain things that were weigh heavy on me, I would tell myself that there's no such thing as failure as long as I learn something from it. If I don't learn something from a situation, then yes, I failed. But if I can even take a little small golden nugget from that situation, then it's not a failure, because that is all something very useful that I can put in my tool belt and use for later. And I'll tell you, you learn so much more from failure than you ever will from any type of success. And it's the truth.
And I think that's a good leadership principle for people to learn from as well, because if you are a leader and you're looking at your team and they make a mistake and you look at it as an opportunity to learn and to avoid that mistake in the future, your team will have the utmost respect and will never want to make that mistake again. Whereas if you view it as punishment and berating someone or degrading someone because of the mistake, that type of leadership will be resented and will hurt the relationship with the employee. So we understand that certain mistakes are going to be bigger than others and are going to require sometimes a reprimand, but using it to learn how to improve the processes or procedures so that it doesn't happen again is the best way to handle it.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Meet our expert team at Miss Biz.
Whether you need help with business strategy, brand development, or digital marketing, we have a personalized one-on-one coaching program just for you.
And if you're looking for something more budget-friendly, our group coaching services offer incredible value and the chance to learn alongside like-minded entrepreneurs.
Transform your business today. Visit MissBiz.com and start your journey to success.
When life has you stressed, Miss Biz has your back. Mom hack.
Moms of school-age children, I'm about to blow your mind. Remember ChatGPT, our favorite tool for writing impressive things? Well, guess what else it can do?
What?
If you take a picture of your child's homework, ChatGPT will tell you if the answers are wrong or right.
Insane.
And if the answers are wrong, it will give you the right answer.
Incredible.
It's changed my life, folks. I was spending hours a night mathing out all these math problems, trying to figure out if these things were right or wrong. And now, take a picture, bam, it's done. Changed my life.
Yeah, so here are some actionable tips for conquering that fear of failure. And some of them we've kind of briefly mentioned. So instead of viewing failure as the end of the road, view it as a valuable source of feedback. Each setback provides insights that can help improve your strategy or your product. So just change the perception of it. And when you start having those negative feelings about failing, just tell yourself it's an opportunity to have a valuable source of information that's going to help me.
And I use a lot of sports analogies. So imagine you play a game, you play a football game and you lose. What does the team do? Do they just pack up their bags and never play again? No, they go home, they watch the tape, they look at where their weaknesses were, they practice harder, and they come back and try again.
Right. You also want to adapt a growth mindset. So you're going to embrace the belief that the skills and success can be developed through perseverance and learning. So a growth mindset helps entrepreneurs see challenges and failures as opportunities for personal and professional development. You'll also want to make sure that you set small, achievable goals. So sometimes instead of having like this big goal that seems, very daunting, break it down and risk objectives into smaller, manageable steps. This is going to help reduce the pressure of potential failure, and it allows you to build your confidence gradually.
I really like the smaller achievable goals. I think it builds your confidence when you achieve something and allows you to keep progressing. And I also think that it's just more realistic than sometimes setting pie in the sky goals that you are not likely to achieve. It just sets you up for failure from the beginning.
Right. Also, practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself during challenging times. We did an episode about, the negative mindset? No, it was about mindset. And we have so many negative thoughts in our head every single day. It's a wonder that we're able to even get up out of bed or complete simple tasks. So make sure that you're encouraging yourself. Remember that failure is a part of the journey, and self-compassion can help you bounce back from those setbacks more quickly.
Also, surround yourself with supportive people. Building a network of mentors, fellow entrepreneurs, or coaches who understand the entrepreneurial landscape. Having a support system can help you gain perspective and encouragement when facing fear or failure. This is so important. Have your girlfriends, have your people who are your support system. Having your family is important, but there's just something about having a good group of girlfriends, or if you're a guy, a good group of guy friends that you can talk to about the struggles, and they can encourage you, and inevitably they'll come up with new ideas and have a new perspective, something you haven't thought of. So just brainstorming and talking about your fears openly and candidly with your friends will help you to have that courage to move forward. And they're going to be your cheerleader all along the way. And when you finally do it, they're going to be there to do everything they can to help support you and help you not to fail.
Right. This next one, I'm going to say while I clap, just to emphasize the point. Learn from your failures. After a failure, take time to reflect on what went wrong and what can be done differently. Use the experience as a tool for improvement, rather than dwelling on it as a defeat. This is so important. Quit making the same mistakes over and over again. Try different ways. Don't beat yourself up. give yourself credit for what did go well, and pick yourself back up and re-strategize, focus on that goal again, and come up with a different plan.
This is why I think sports are so great for kids, because they're going to fail. Nobody wins every game. So the times that you fail, you on the drive home can say, what did you do well? What could you have done better? And they're learning constantly to look at, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? And you can do the same thing with schoolwork. You got these problems wrong. Why were they wrong? What could you do to do better? And you're right in that I think it's pretty well proven that the problems you get wrong are the ones that you remember later, years later, not the ones that you got right.
Exactly. Also, you have to take calculated risks. So all entrepreneurship involves some risk. You can minimize the fear of failure by taking calculated risk. So analyze the potential outcomes and create contingency plans to prepare for any challenges that may arise, right? Using the sports analogy, right? You have football players on the field, right? That's a big risk. Like, your kids could get hurt, but having a medic there can help prepare for that type of challenge, that they can get some assistance and not be hurt without aid.
Yeah. And looking at the risk, what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
Asking yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And then when you really talk through that, you really start to think of what the worst that can happen is. It's usually not anything life or death. It's like, what's the worst that could happen? I could lose some money. Right. What's the worst that could happen? My feelings could be hurt. Some people could say some bad things. What's the worst that could happen? Like, when you really look at what it is, when you're looking at calculating what the risk is, the risk usually isn't anything as significant as what you're building it up to be in your mind.
Correct. You know we're all about that case, no trouble. All about that case, no trouble. All about that case, no trouble. All about that case.
At Bolt's Legal, we are all about your case. Text or call to schedule a free consultation for all your legal needs. boltslegal.com.
Celebrate progress, not just success. So focus on the small wins and the milestones that you achieve along the way. Even if the final outcome isn't perfect, just being able to recognize that process helps reduce the pressure, because you're succeeding at every step.
Yeah. An example of this is there's a competition here in Orlando called Orlando's Best. And it's Orlando's Best, whatever. There's a bunch of different professions. And so I was nominated for Orlando's Best Personal Injury Law Firm. And I was so honored just to be one of the nominees. Orlando is one of the most heavily populated areas for personal injury lawyers. I mean, there are personal injury lawyers on every street corner, it seems. And there was maybe 10 nominees. So to even just be one of those 10 nominees in such a highly saturated market was a win for me. So we celebrated that. We posted about it. I told people about it. Look, we were nominated. Just the nomination was a win for me. And then we now have become one of the top 3 finalists, which was even more celebration, because when you look at the other firms on the list, one of them has literally 100 lawyers. I literally counted on their website how many lawyers, not for this purpose, but for something else. I had counted. They have 100 lawyers in their law firm, and I have one in my law firm, me. I'm it. So to be in the running against 100 lawyer law firm, and then they have staff beyond that, so they probably have 200 or 300 employees, to be in the running, to be a finalist against such massive firms, to me, that was a win. I celebrated that. I don't have to win. And frankly, I probably won't win. But it's okay because I have made progress. To think of how far I have come from working in my spare bedroom with my mom 7 years ago to where we are now with the team we have and the building we have and the facilities we have. We've made huge progress in a really reasonable amount of time. So we celebrate that. It doesn't really matter if we win, honestly.
She's going to win. She's gonna win.
I really don't think so, but it's okay. I am honored to be in the running against, and then this is an interesting fact because you guys know him. Bill Umansky is the third finalist.
Lawman.
Yeah, the lawman. He was a guest on our show not long ago, and we had the jingle for him, the lawman. And so he's the third, and he has a much larger law firm than I do as well. And he's been around. He's had his firm for 20 plus years. So, to be a one lawyer law firm who's been around only 7 years in comparison to these much more established, larger firms, that was a win. So the point is celebrate the progress, celebrate the growth. Don't just focus on, if I don't win, then, then it's worthless. It's not worthless. You were in the running. You were nominated. People thought highly enough of you to have you considered for this award.
And another thing to help you is to keep moving forward. The fear of failure can cause hesitation, but making sure that you're taking action, even small steps, can reduce the fear and help build that momentum. So as long as you keep moving forward, failure just becomes a part of the learning process. So remember, failure is part of the journey. It's not the destination. And by adopting a growth mindset, surrounding yourself with support, and focusing on progress, you can conquer the fear of failure and take your business to new heights. We appreciate you and are honored to be on this journey with you. We can't wait to help you, to encourage you, and show you how to grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
If you found Miss Biz helpful, please leave a review and share with others.
You can follow us on social media at Miss Biz Podcast.
For legal questions or services, please visit boltslegal.com.
And for digital marketing needs, please visit boltsmedia.com. Let's get biz done.